Let's begin. Hello YouTube, welcome back to another game of Starcraft 2 Legacy of the Void. This is going to be game number 2 between MinChul, better known as MC, and his opponent SOS. So the first game has just completed. If you're on the stream, if you're on the VOD, you are on probably a few hours after the previous game was released. And of course, if you haven't seen it, the link will be in the description below. Now the score is about to be brought up, so let's quickly have a look at our players. On the bottom right hand side here, SOS is our blue Protoss. He is on team Jin Air Green Wings, and he's from South Korea. Now his opponent is going to be MC, or MinChul in this case, spawning as the blue Protoss. Now MC is currently a retired player, so I don't know if this means that he's going back into Starcraft. And he has no team, and he's from Korea. So the question really is whether he's going back, because MC used to be the boss of Starcraft 2. He was the absolute boss. He had won so many tournaments back in his day. So it would definitely be interesting to see him come back and even potentially winning a few tournaments. So builds, just like in the last game, very, very similar. In fact, pretty identical. Timings are about a 1 or 2 seconds off each other, so that's probably just maybe a bit of lag delay, maybe a bit of I don't know, maybe just a small bit of a delay in your reaction to what you need to build. But you know, that half a second doesn't really make that huge of a difference, so that is quite fine. So let's see where the variation is going to start coming out, because that is where our differences are going to come out. Now the score currently is 1 in favor of SOS and 0 in favor of MC. Now in the previous game, obviously I'm about to spoil it, so I suppose you know the score already. But basically in the previous game, SOS had a brilliant tactic. He, and I'm quoting, air quoting, cheesed his win. It was a bit of a late cheese, but what he done is essentially he hid the Dark Templar Shrine behind his base, or at the back of his base, and with the help of 2 Dark Templars, he just annihilated the mineral lines of MC. At that point, MC tried to do an all-in, and unfortunately for him, didn't quite work out, and at that point he lost. So let's see how this one plays out. It's going to be 1 for 0, so we have a minimum of 2 more games, including this one, and a maximum of 4. Now these stalkers will be able to catch up to that, I believe. I think they are faster, right? I mean, that is looking like the probe. Oh, there we go, just about. So it's like similar to the Zerg versus probe thing. So the Zerglings are a little bit faster, but it does take them a while to catch up. And there we go, a bit of a stalker versus stalker engagement here. He did get the first puck, and unfortunately attacking the second unit there. And it's very close right now. This one stalker is very low. Needs to be careful. Oh, manages to snipe off 1 stalker for 0. Beautiful. Beautiful. Nice play here from SOS. Any sort of advantage you can take this early is hugely effective. I mean, the earlier you take any sort of economic advantage, the better it's going to look like in the long run. So taking out one of the stalkers there was technically 50% of his army. So you can imagine that he doesn't have a whole lot of resources to reinforce that stalker right now. And when he does, his opponent will be able to reinforce it as well, at that point being on 3. Now I've currently taken a little bit of a break from leaving questions of the series on my videos, but instead what I would like to say is, if you haven't liked the video at this point and you are enjoying what you're seeing, please, I beg you, leave it a like. That would be super awesome of you, and I'll be forever in your debt. If you're on the stream, of course you're welcome to leave a like to the stream, and that essentially promotes it across YouTube a little bit and shows it just a little bit higher, and that would be, again, super cool of you. And let's see what's going to go down here. Ooh, running up the ramp, taking a few extra hits before actually realizing what's going on. Now just to count, there's 5 stalkers versus 6 stalkers, but the 5 stalkers also have 2 sentries in the back of them, so probably favoring them at this point. Now Blink is on the way for MC. So interesting to see. Maybe he might actually stick with that tech. Now Blink Micro is very, very effective with Protoss versus Protoss, particularly if your opponent starts to get Immortals. And let's see. Oh, interesting enough, SOS going for the Twilight Council. Now it's a bit late, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for another Dark Templar Shrine. That absolutely shut down his opponent last time so bad. But on this occasion, it does look like MC is actually prepared with one sentry, or not sentry, but observer in position. So good for him. Gonna be prepared for this time. But honestly, I would be very, very surprised to see a Dark Shrine coming out again. That'd be quite rare and quite risky also. Now army supplies are very similar right now. Worker supply also very similar. Build orders are also very similar. The only difference is SOS has got himself an extra base. So once this comes into effect, and obviously this doesn't take away from his production capabilities since it's not the same as the Zerg, they build it from the Nexus. At that point, if he continues on with making probes here, which he just needs to sacrifice 50 minerals every now and then, he will be starting to pull ahead very, very quickly. Now let's see, there's 2 Immortals on the back of this army. What does MC or SOS have? SOS has no Immortals. So that for him. Oh, one Immortal is here. 2 Immortals. Okay, so now this is very even. In fact, extremely, extremely even. Let's have a look at that. 4 sentries, 6 to 7 Stalkers, 1 Immortals. It's all going to be about that micro. This one base is going to be spotted out very, very shortly. Oh, he knows about it. He knew about it already. Cool. So the overcharge going down. He does not want to attack with the overcharge. Oh, force field is going to prevent those sentries from running, but the force fields in return for MC. Beautifully played here. 1 Immortal is going to get taken out here. Has done a significant amount of damage in the meantime though. And I think that this currently is favoring MC. He does have, oh, a huge warp in here as well. So many Stalkers being brought in. I think that he might be able to snipe off this Nexus. There's not a whole lot that his opponent can do. There's Blink Micro available on both of our players' sides. And he is now starting to use it. And let's see who comes out on top here. It looks like there's 1 Immortal versus 1 Immortal. Oh, this 1 Immortal going to get sniped out here. Not in a great position. The other Immortal still alive. Going to be able to do more and more damage onto that. And the Nexus falls. The Stalker count is favoring MC here. Gonna cancel off that pylon actually. And let's see what we got here. Looks like 34 to 38 is the army supply. Slightly in favoring of SOS. He does have 3 Immortals here, whereas MC has 0. So, oh, nice! Blinking straight into that, taking out 1 free, but at the same time, did he lose too much damage to those Immortals? Because realistically, Immortals absolutely wreck Stalkers. And oh my god, the fact that he has to run away from these means he can't attack as often as SOS can. Because if he stays behind and starts attacking, he might be evenly trading with those Stalkers, but at the same time, those Immortals were very, very quickly approaching. Looks like 1 Immortal here for MC. And I think this is quite a nasty situation for him. 3 Immortals versus 1 is not going to end well. At all. There's 1 more Immortal being produced. But is it going to be enough? Honestly, I don't know. Let's see what's going to go on here. Don't engage without your Immortals. SOS, you are the pro. You should know this stuff. Bit of a miss micro. And let's see, his base is now getting established here. Both players actually in quite a similar position right now, with the exception obviously that there was an SOS base lost. Now we have 4 sentries in the back of this. Looks like 3 sentries on MC's side. Now how are these sentries going to do? Are they going to split the army right down the middle? No, they're not. They're basically making a little concave here instead, which is just as effective. And what is he going to do here? Looks like 70 to 54 army supply. So it is favoring SOS right now, and he's reinforcing this. Oh, he did indeed go for those Dark Templars. Now there's one observer there. I do believe he only has one. Whoa, what? That's not even his observer. He does. Oh, he has one observer. There it is. He just created it. So he did lose one just now. And now losing one of his own. And there we go, the Dark Templars inside the base. What is he going to do with it? Workers? Doing a bit of a scout before, actually, so that's quite clever. Starting to take out 3 SCV, or the probes have been taken out now. 5. So this Dark Templar has paid for itself at this point. Starting to do some damage. He's trying to distract some units, but unfortunately for him, not going to be getting enough of those units. And as you can see here, force field is going down for both of our players. There's a bit of a kind of a no fight zone right here. Overcharge is going down. Probably wants to stay away from those. 12 probes have been taken out so far. And this is nicely favoring SOS right now. He's got a bigger army. He's got a bigger economy. And he's also got a fully working third base. Whereas MC's second base is actually struggling a little bit. What are our players going to do? Looks like more Immortals being warped in, or created right now. I think they're constructed rather than morphed. Or warped, rather. Oh no, actually, you know what? They do get warped in. Where's the robotics facility? Let me find that quick. There we go, look. Warped. Warped it is. I'm surprised that they can't use the warp gate technology. But still, everything favoring him right now. Oh, look at this. Looks like we have a robotics support bay. Or robotics bay as it is now. Which means that he's probably going to go for disruptors, which are immensely powerful versus Protoss. Now there is currently talks from Blizzard saying that they might nerf. Oh, GG has been called. SOS. That was a bit of a premature one. But then again, with the robotics bay, that will probably have went in SOS's favor very quickly. If he so much as missed one blink outside of the Purification Novas, that would be it for him. And that is it for game number 2. Now, just to note, the reason this GG was a little bit looked like it was preemptive, it was actually because I missed a drop inside the main base. There was basically Dark Templars yet again winning SOS game number 2 here. So there was I think there was 2 Dark Templars being warped in. I didn't quite cop onto it because they're a little bit invisible on the minimap. And by that I mean they're kind of blue, so they blend in a little bit. So that's pretty much it. Game number 2 taken by SOS. I do apologize for missing the very final, I suppose, harassment, which finished the game. And that's it. See you guys next time. Bye bye.